अनेकजन्मसम्प्राप्त कर्मबन्धविदायिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरोपादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मन्नाथः श्रीजगन्नाथः मद्गुरुः श्रीजगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतम् गुरुः परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव।
Please close your eyes. Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidyushavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as we have been discussing, so one after another mudras. So in the last class we were talking about this Khechari mudra. So we were in the halfway in the Khechari mudra. So the concept that in the verse number 50 itself, when it started Khechari mudra, just quickly I am brushing so that it becomes easier for you to remember. भ्रुवोर अंतर्गतां दृष्टिं विधाय सुदृढ़ां सुधि उपविश्यासने वज्रे नानोपद्रववर्जितः लंबिकोर्ध्वं स्थिते गर्ते रसनां विपरीतगां संयोजयेत् प्रयत्नेन सुधाकूपे विचक्षणः मुद्रेशा खेचरी प्रोक्ता भक्तानां अनुरोधतः. We have seen in details. So it is better to be seated in Vajrasana. So once you are in Vajrasana, then what you need to do is here is fixing your eyesight. Let us say focusing, not allowing your mind to move anywhere. That's why a lot of points actually are there, which is in the consequences it comes as you keep practicing, as we really keep practicing, that time lot of tips are being given, why and how. That's why I am going along with the text. So again in detail, so when you look at this particular thing, then what happens? Roll back your tongue and take to the up. Then as you do it, now you are completely focused. That's why he gives also very nicely that clue, Nana Upadrava Varjitaha. So there should not be any agitation. There should not be any disturbance, neither internally nor externally. So you need to look at both the things. So when there is a disturbance internally or externally, definitely this is going to affect, because you will not be able to focus it either. So looking at all these things, so this is called as Chariputra, which we have discussed in details. I am just bringing it once more, that's all, don't worry. Then also it was being discussed, Siddhinam Jananim Hesha Mama Pranadhika Priya, that we discussed. Nirantara Kutabhyasa Piyusham Pratyaham Pivet Tena Vigraha Siddhisyat Mrityu Matanga Kesari. This particular Matanga Kesari, I was talking many aspects, especially temple concept of India. In few further also you will see same Matanga Kesari, it will come again and again. Because as I was talking all these things now, the Indian concept, or this, let us say the Hinduism as such, or this temple, all these rituals is completely keeping with the prana aspect. So when you look at all these things in keeping with the prana aspect, there will be no disturbance in you. In fact, every aspect is in keeping with that. Because there are, for example, in India there are very bad things they do talk, like temple like Khajaro, temple like Konark is blamed. I cannot say that it is highlighted. Highlighted is the wrong word. It's a very positive word actually, highlighted. Blamed. These are the temples stands for nudity. Please, it has got its again yogic aspect. We'll look into some other time when time permits. Because every aspect is completely in keeping with the prana. You need to see the layers after layers. Even if you have seen, like if you visualize, some of you have visited Konark, if not Khajuraho, that Konark there are layers. It's not that only, and you will see all sort of statues or this sort of statues, what you call nudity, that is in the down below, low layer, not on the top. So, but unfortunately, people eyes only fall on that they highlight, that only photos are being clicked, and finally they blame that the temple stands for nudity. Like that, everything, all these psychologically disturbed people, especially these so-called intellectuals, and of course with the bend of this communism. Because what happened, especially after independence, so-called independence, this communist thinking people came forward. Because they were lying down doing nothing, then they said everything should be equal. And in the name of equality, what they try to do? They try to amass the wealth. Now presently also few jokers are there hanging around, only they criticize to earn money. And these sort of thinkers, and of course many youngsters got influenced, they try to find out everywhere negative aspect of it. There is no pranic concept, nothing. Everything they try to intellectualize. Coming back, why I am trying to talk all these things? Because concept here is, you need to look at your body. So that's why this Vigraha Siddhi happens. That Sharira Siddhi happens. And of course he says that very nicely. This is Jananim. This is the mother of all these all the success siddhis. This is the source. And moreover he says, Mama Pranadhika Priya, the one who keeps practicing this regularly, that person is much more dearer than my life. That also we have seen. Because why? Because you keep drinking that nectar. So when you keep drinking that nectar, even if you will not depend upon God, this is the beauty in it. That's why a yogi does not care with anybody. That's why we say very nicely, when a pralaya comes, somebody jocularly said there are few things during pralaya time which will come. Pralaya means when the world will come to non-existence, means this particular creation will get destroyed. So we have a lot of explanations like water will come, this and that, all these things will happen. So we say beautifully. So like we have, there are some Chiranjivins. So Chiranjeev means those who will be alive all the time. So they will be alive. Siddhas also will be alive. And of course all our karmas will get into seed form. So in the seed form again the creation will come back. Somebody jokingly said, because all the siddhas are also will continue. But along with that somebody said, no, that time this scripture did not know. There is one factor also which will continue. Now what is that? That is called plastic. So plastic will be formed into one group and again they will continue in the next. Because you can see nothing can happen to plastic. Joke apart. So here, beautifully we need to look at when a person starts drinking that nectar. That nectar is so amazing, so beautiful, that makes you not to depend upon anybody, anything, including God. And when really you understand that you don't depend upon anybody, anything, including God, of course God will follow you. You understand the concept? That's why God says, Mama Pranadhika Priya, because everything is very much linked, so that which I really do not want to get into too details. And of course says, Apavitro Pavitrova, Sarvavastha Gatopiva, Khechari Yasya Suddha, Tusa Suddho Natra Samsaya. Whatever situation you are, wherever you are, if you have practiced Khechari Mudra and you are practicing Khechari Mudra, that means you are pure. How you can see it? What is purity and what is impurity? If you observe that we have discussed in details long back. If you look at outside world, that is called impure when the dust comes. Dust is nothing but called external objects comes and sets in. Suppose in your house, on chair, there is another layer of wood. Will you call it is dirty? Definitely not. Because this is another layer. Whereas on that different, including some other than that wood particle, but wood, complete wood, some other things falls. That too small one, you call that. So that means which is different than what exactly it should be, that is called dirt. All the dust, this is how we look at. Now if you look at in our mind, what is that impurity? So impurity means at a given time what sort of thought is supposed to flow. If that does not flow, or along with that some other things flows. You understand? Suppose now I am having class. So when we are having class, the thoughts should be related to this. When those thoughts are not related to this, if some other thoughts are getting in, crashing, clashing, in between fighting, all these things are happening, that is called impurity in short. So when you have a given flow of thought, in that given flow of thought, if any other unwanted, let us say unwelcomed, demanding thoughts gets in, that tries to settle in, that is called impurity in short. We have discussed in details in many texts. In fact, Know Your Mind, we have discussed many occasions, we have discussed, because this is one of my strong area which I highlight everywhere. So here, please understand, he says beautifully, if a person is able to do Khechari Mudra, actually Khechari Mudra will not allow any unwanted thought to get in. This is the clue I am giving it openly here. Literally Khechari Mudra arrests everything. That's why sometimes we say that if your prana is depleted, you are really distracted, you don't have any self-confidence and other things which we have discussed. Because please understand one thing I would like to say openly. The package that we have created in Yoga Vidya, that is the ultimate package if you look at this text. Every aspect is being taken care. Not a single thing which is not there in a very short format, in a capsule format. But unfortunately, many of you are in your way of thinking and practicing arrogantly. You don't care because this is very cheaply, openly available. Because the best method I can openly say is our Yoga Vidya method. Because had I made it secret like any other group, had I done in a very, business oriented, it would have become a great package. There is no doubt in it. All these things you can see, everything is there in that Yoga Vidya package, every details. Whatever I am talking through this text, all complicated things, everything is in the capsule format in that. That's why, in fact, when we say, which will be seeing Uddiyana Bandha, later on we will see, everything is there, whole package talks. And there is nothing to really talk much here. But however, he says beautifully, when the Khechari Mudra is being done, definitely you will discover that no other unwanted thought will get in. I remember there is a beautiful concept. In Orisha, I'll bring a Orisha concept, very nice, which is a very popular, so that I can bring it. Okay, you know my favorite person. I have some few problem, some favorite people I have, okay? Without any reason I bring them. One of them is called Chaitanya. Let us say, the one who made this bhakti movement. So he came from West Bengal. Let me not get into in details. So when he came to Puri Jagannath, so he wanted to capture. So what he did, he tried to figure it out. Who are the most influential people, most great scholarly people in different ways. And of course, he found out 5 people called Pancha Sakhas. This is the concept I would like to bring it. Pancha Sakhas. So he tried to please them and trying to unite them, so that if they accept him as a great person, as a, because I should not talk all these things, very wrong way they have done the job. Like, Lord Jagannath is called Prabhu. Prabhu means the God, okay? Prabhu, they call Prabhu. In Oriya, in Bengali, Prabhu. Prabhu means God. But Chaitanya became Mahaprabhu, great God. So all the Chaitanya people say Mahaprabhu. Means very consciously they destroyed the mind of common people. Till now they call as Mahaprabhu. Jagannath becomes Prabhu. How come Chaitanya becomes Mahaprabhu? Let me not get into, but just I am giving you the clue. However, when these 5 people got in, there was one person which I was influenced through his literature. That is the point I would like to say. So his name was called Balaram Das. To be very honest, actually he is the person who was a reformist. In fact, today, whatever you see, that he wrote one particular Ramayana, not in keeping with this, little differently, called Dandi Ramayana, where he brought lot of reformation. In fact, those days he tried that, made it sure that Lakshmi to be worshipped by anybody and everybody. Because earlier days it was only restricted to one community, on one group, like mainly 2-3 communities were. The last community were not allowed to worship. In fact, he made it clear, no, it should be worshipped by them. A lot of things he brought. The concept is here, the most important concept is, and of course he was called as rebellious and what not. But he was a yogi, this is the point. One incident happened. Till now, this is continuing in Chariot Festival. That concept is going on. He was a great yogi, but he had his own problem. So let me not get into the problem. This is called Suddha, Asuddha, all these things comes. So the problem he had is, so he had some weakness with some ladies. And God knows whatever happened. Now when he was there, he heard the sound of this car festival. Then suddenly he woke up, what is this? Now car festival is going on, I am supposed to be there. Imagine those days, okay? Some 700 years back, very less people. Then he ran. And when he came, he was in a different way. So there were some, that turmeric in the body, this, that, all the wrong way. So people understood this fellow, God knows where from has come. Then all these priests tried to push him, throw him away. In fact, he was not allowed to toss the chariot. He was not allowed to climb up the chariot either. In fact, he was thrashed by all the priests. So what he did, poor fellow, did not have any other choice. He had to leave the place. Then he went to a place where there was a river. Now the river is closed at present. Now there is no river. Because those days there were 6 chariots, now only 3. Because in between there was a river. So the chariot, all the date will go to this thing, again will be shifted to other side. So where the river meets the sea, in that place he made 3 chariots out of sand and sat there. So when he sat there, and with, of course, this is called, this is called sadhana siddhi. Here the chariot did not move, because he locked all the deities there. So making this sand, out of sand, he locked it. Okay, do whatever you want. So when these people tried their level best to pull Jagannath, nothing happened. So they were helpless, what to do, what not to do. Something is wrong, they did not understand. And finally they came to know, okay, with all these things, that okay, he is sitting there. Then the message was being given, he has to brought in, then only Jagannath will move. So with those days the king had to go. So went down and okay, we are sorry, please come. So when he came, and of course he climbed up again chariot in the same way he was. He was sitting like more than 1 or 2 days, sitting, enjoying his way. And when he came up, then he tried to scold Jagannath. Till now that procedure is going on during car festival time. So with the like when you understand, you will see on the top of near the horse, there will be somebody like horse statue. Somebody with the stick will try to say something, then they will pull it. So all these things is called what? If you wanted to blame me, you could have done it. Why did you do through somebody? If you want, this is the all wrong thing, all the bad words, okay? You cannot think of the words he has used very polite way, okay? It is sophisticated way. And till now this parampara, let us say this tradition is another tradition created, is continuing. So somebody has to scold Jagannath, and Jagannath, when he is being getting scolded, he moves very fast. Coming back, the point is here, this is Suddha va Asuddha. This is the point I try to say, because this yogic tradition is as such. The gods, they have to listen to a yogi. The gods have to listen to a Siddha Purusha. Because remember, gods are bound with karma theory. Because they are part of the universal law. They cannot violate the universal law, because they represent universal law. Whereas a Siddha doesn't belong to anything. You understand? Siddha can get in anywhere. So that privilege a Siddha has. So that is what is being highlighted here. If you observe very nicely that if a person does this Khechari Mudra, definitely that person maintains the purity. In fact, will not allow the mind to move unnecessarily anywhere at all. Let us look at. Says beautifully, Kshanardha Kurute Yattu Tirtva Papa Maharnavam Divya Bhogan Prabhuktyacha Satkulecha Saprayojate. That is what this much we saw it. So after this, what happens? The person definitely will take birth in a good family, in a noble family, where you have opportunity to again restart or enjoy your life, either or, don't worry. And okay, let us look at next now. Mudreisa khechari yastu swasta chitto hyatandritaha sata brahmagate napi kshanardham manyate hishaha. Same thing continues. He who practices this khechari mudra, what happens? Of course, you need here swasta chittaha. There should be healthy attitude. So healthy attitude means here not to prove, because you can do also khechari mudra. By practicing khechari mudra, you can go to somebody. Suppose you have to meet somebody, you want to impress, you want to bring down. There are tricks and techniques. Practice khechari mudra, build up your energy and talk. You will destroy that person. But that is not good. That is not healthy attitude. This is what he brings. Swasta chittaha. Not with the competition, not to do anything. All these things, angles also are being taught. Swasta chittaha. He atandritaha. That means without any laziness, without any impurities. Then what happens, he says beautifully, and of course says the person will start enjoying life in such a way. He compares Sata Brahma Gatenapi Kshanardham Manyate Sa. Even if the person enjoys the happiness, the pleasure, or the length, both way, of 100 Brahma's life, but will consider as though it has done for 1 second. Means the time span is not remembered, is not understood at all. Means you enjoy such a way, you do not look at anything because you really forget. Even if hours together, if you want to talk in a practical way, even if you do hours together, but you will think that you are doing for just few seconds. This is called the beauty of the practice. But how? Then he says, Guru Padeso to mudram yaha Vetti khechari mimam. Guru Padeso to mudram Yoveti khecharim imam Nana paparato dhima Sayati paramam gatim. So here he says beautifully that when the person is instructed, is guided or taught by the teacher, the guru, and does this khechari mudra, of course he will be a free person, he will gain the highest goal, he will achieve the highest goal, nothing, the liberation. But he says, the point he brings it, Nana paparato, even if the person is drowned, even though the person is drowning or drowned in different type of papas, omissions and commissions and its consequences, its effects. Even if that person also will be able to overcome, will be able to manage, able to achieve the liberation in life. Let us look at the next verse. Saprana sadrushi mudra yasmin kasmin nadiyate prachhadyate prayatnena mudreyam surapujite. Says beautifully, O Parvati, surapujite, who is adored of gods, by the gods. So that means, O Parvati, who is adored by the god, you are the person who is adored by the god. Surapujite. So what happens? Says, Sa pranatva sadrishi mudra. That mudra, or here is this mudra that we are talking, is dear as the life. So it is that dearer, as life is dearer to me, so also this mudra is dearer to me. So that's why what? Says, Yasmin kasmin nadiyate iti. Don't give it away to whomsoever you want. Just ordinary people, whomsoever you feel like giving, Yasmin kasmin. You know, this anybody, if you feel like giving, please don't do that. And it says, Prachadyate prayatnena mudreyam iti. Surapujita already we have seen. So this is something to be really kept secret and preserved with great care. Let us look at the next is called Jalandhara Bandha. That is also, this is also is in our package, okay? Everything is there in the Yoga Vidya package, don't worry. So I don't have to talk anything. You look at the book, you will see all the points in details. And of course, whenever I take the class, I give all the input to time. And of course, nowadays I don't take class, only I will be taking class only for yoga teachers training courses, not other time, okay? That also I have decided. Or else there is no point. So what is this Jalandhara Bandha? Beautiful says, Baddha gala sirajalam hrudaye chibukam nyaset bandho jalandhara pruktaha devanam api durlabha navista vanhir jantunam sahasra kamalachyutam pivet piyusha vistharam tadartham bandhet idam. Very nice, very smooth. Baddha gala sirajalam. That's why this jalam comes Jalandhara Bandha. Okay? So many people say Jalandhara Bandha. There is no Jalandhara, okay? Jalandhara. So because one has to, many yoga people say, oh, this is Jalandhara Bandha. Because when they write J-A, so they don't write it, so it becomes Jalandhar. So Jalandhar. So somebody, one teacher says Jalandhar, everybody says Jalandhar. Sometimes I also might say, hey, it should be Jalandhar. How come it is Jalandhar? So I also say, oh, maybe. You understand? I also get confused. Coming back here. So this Jalandhar Bandha, why it is, very nicely says, Baddha Gala Sira Jalam. So here particularly, this is called Jalam. So this Jalam, what is to be done? It's the first thing is what happens, you need to contract this muscle. Not just, Jalandhar Bandha, it doesn't mean just bring down chin. It doesn't work. So many people make mistake. Okay, bring down the chin. So when you bring down the chin, what happens? Unnecessarily you create a lot of stress here. There is this particular place, this one is very loose, and you will have neck pain. A lot of stress will come. So first thing what is to be done is, you are supposed to contract this area. Okay, and don't worry, it is covered with my beard, so it is better. So that you cannot see it properly. So the neck region, what you need to do is, those muscles has to be contracted first. This jala has to be, you have to do bandha to that. So once it is contracted, then only with this contraction, then you bring it down. Then what happens? They say, then what you need to, Hrudaya Chibukam Nyaset. So bring down or press the chin on the chest. That is to be done. Then what happens? That's why it says, Bandha Jalandhara Prukta Devanam api Dullava. So this is called Jalandhara Bandha, and this is rare, not in fact available for devatas, for gods. And says, now why it is rare? Gives the logic, which also we have discussed in Yoga Vidya Teachers Training course. Those who have attended this, I have discussed everything. Nothing I have left. Navista Vanihir Jantunam Sahasra Kamalachyutam Pibet Piyusha Vistaram Tadartham Bandhayet Idam. He gives this thing because always there is a fire in the Naval region, what we call as Jataragni. So that sometimes we call Surya Mandala. So there what happens, whatever nectar falls down from Sahasradala, definitely that nectar gets burnt by this Agni, Jataragni, or by this Surya Mandala, in that Surya Mandala. Because that gets destroyed, this is the truth, the person becomes very weak and becomes hungry, wants to eat a lot, wants to digest, wants to do all these things. That vitality, that strength goes away. Whereas when this Jalandhara Bandha is being done, you don't allow that nectar to get destroyed by this digestive fire. Jataragni cannot destroy because that Amrutam is being stocked here. So when that Amrutam is being stocked here, then you start drinking that Amrutam. So when you start drinking that Amrutam, your complete, the approach, whole thing goes away. That's why in our packaging, in Yoga Vidya package, everything keep in mind, we have done in such a very small and quickest way. All these things are there so that the person without knowing will be able to get all the benefits. So that we don't have to give thousands of explanations. You understand? Now after how many years I am giving you explanation. But all these things are there in that. That's why it says beautifully, if the person really starts doing it, because in details we have discussed in the books, later on we'll see what the text says, I have to go along with the text. So that the nectar is not getting destroyed. So when that nectar is not getting destroyed, you will discover that always you will be very comfortable. In fact, you will not feel so quickly tired at all. That exhaustion will not take place. And many benefits are there. Let us go the next. Bandhe nanena piyusham swayam pibati buddhiman amarattam cha samprapya modate bhuvanatraye. So anena bandhena piyusham swayam pibati buddhiman. So that is what he says. Through this bandha, so what happens? Buddhiman, the one who is a learned person, who knows how to use his intellect, his way of thinking. So what he does, he starts drinking this piyusham, this nectar. Then of course by this thing what happens is amaratvam samprapya modate tribhunatraye. So because of that reason, of course he becomes amara, immortal. So enjoys the immortality, obtaining the immortality. And what happens? Bhuvanatraye modate iti, enjoys in the three worlds. All are called phalasruti. Next. Jalandharabandha esha siddhanam siddhidayakah abhyasah kriyate nityam yogina siddhimichyata. This is something to be done. Says this is called Jalandharabandha. And of course esah bandha siddhanam siddhidayaka. It gives the siddhi to the siddhas. It brings success for the practitioner. And moreover, abhyasa kriyate nityam. So it is to be done what? The abhyasa, the practice is to be done daily. If you are interested in success in siddhi. If yogina siddhi michata, if the person is desirous to get success in life. Then next, called Mula Bandha. This is also there in the package. So I hope those who are remembering whether don't get confused. Okay, Swamiji, whatever is there you are saying in the package. Yes, everything is there. So atha Mula Bandha Kathanam. What is that? Pada Mulena Sampidya Gudamargam Suyantritam Baladapanamakrishya Kramat Urdam Sucharayet Kalpitoyam Mula Bandha Jara Marana Nashana. Says beautifully. That's why the Mula Bandha is very important in the beginning, because without practicing Mula Bandha, one will not be able to practice Yoni Bandha either. Sorry, Yoni Mudra. Because Yoni Mudra is nothing which will come. Mula Bandha plus bringing prana and apana together. I hope you remember what we talked Yoni Mudra, okay? Or else because I am looking at some of you just blinking the eyes. God knows what he is talking. However, coming back here, you should say, Swamiji, we are here for the class. Once class is over, all our books are somewhere. So we don't remember, we don't look at. Again before the class, we come up, okay. No problem, okay. That's why I look at myself now. I am breaking my head, I am studying a lot. More than that, I have to translate, I have to do this, do that. I am not telling you jokes from morning onwards. I am sitting in one place. Went down for food. Again sat. Sitting and sitting, working, nothing else. I don't have any other thing like, as though I feel like, what I am doing. However, but I enjoy. Says, Pada Mulena Sampidya Guda Margam Suyantritam. So what you need to do here is a trick is, so you need to here, he gives the beautifully, Guda Marga. Guda Marga means Anas, Guda. So what is to be done is here, you need to press the Anas with the help of heel. Actually, we have taught in different places. I have taught when those who are come to Chennai, I have taught them how to make this Mula Bandha, how to look at Mula Bandha. That we have discussed in details. The tricks and techniques, everything have been taught. So if you remember, fine. If you don't remember, please don't break my head. Okay? When we have some classes, that time we'll think of. No question to be entertained. Because if you become Manda Madhyama Adhikari. Okay? You understand? Manda Madhyama Adhikari. Manda means the dullest. Madhyama means in between. Okay? Manda Madhyama Adhikari. Please understand, I am not interested. I want the best Adhikari. When I say there should be spark and it should be bomb. That is what I expect. Because that's why sometimes I go in high way, means high speed, so that you have to run behind me. Don't pull me down. If you pull me down, that's why always I say, if I slow down, everything will collapse. That's why you can see, today class is very fast because morning I took one class. That's why morning itself I started the class in a super fast way. No slowing down. I said, look, now let me enjoy the way I want to take class. Not, you understand? However, coming back here, says beautifully, so you need to push. There should be some type of pressing on your anus. Then what happens? Then while doing it, now forcibly, beautiful says, balat apanam akursya. So you have to use your force to pull up your apana vayu. Then once it was there, then says, kramat urdham sucharayat. So kramat, then you need to really bring up slowly up. And of course you need to keep practicing it. That is what it says beautifully. Kalpitoyam mulabandha. So this is called as mulabandha. Jara marana nashana. Destroyer of old age and death. Because if you do mulabandha, your apana vayu will not drain you at all. Because that time you get drained when apana vayu is active. It's like, no, exactly I can tell you. For example, especially ladies like monthly periods or any men go through this diarrhea. When you have diarrhea, anybody, how you feel? Completely drained. Nothing you feel like. In fact, sometimes mind does not work. After 2-3 diarrheas, you are finished. Mind will not work. Even if you want to think something, mind will not work, because there the apana vayu is very strong. So once apana vayu is stronger than prana, what happens? As I told you, you remember, this is the relationship, okay? This is the relationship. So now what happens when apana literally pulls down, now prana comes down. So when prana comes down, you don't have energy. So here what happens? Now when you pull, you change the things. Can you see? Now this apana is being changed. It was like this, it will be changed like this. Now what happens when you pull up? Automatically, without doing anything, prana has to go up. This is how it works. That's what he says beautifully. This is called Jara Marana Nashana. Let us look at the next verse. Apana pranayoraikyam prakuratyadhikalpitam bandhenanena sutaram yuni mudra prasiddhyate. Beautifully, again, if you look at apana pranayo aikyam, already which I have talked, along with this mula bandha, if you bring, now this goes like as I told you, it goes like this. Now it says, now it keeps moving up. Now it says you need to carefully apana prana, if you lock it, and with the help of samana, which already we have seen earlier. Now once you lock it, apana pranayo aikyam, once it happens, then what happens? This particular thing becomes again what? Yoni mudra. So through mula bandha to arrive at yoni mudra becomes much more easier and convenient. Got the point? Now next. Siddhayam yoni mudrayam kim na siddhyati bhutale bandhasyasya prasadena gagane bijitalisah padmasane sthito yogi bhuvam utsrutsya vartate. Beautifully says. And of course what happens? Now the one who is very successful, siddhayam yoni mudrayam, the one who has achieved success in yoni mudra, kimna siddhyati bhutale, What is there to achieve for them? Means what he cannot achieve. Means he can achieve anything and everything. There is nothing to be achieved in short. At the same time, he can achieve anything and everything. Bandhasya asya prasadena gagane vijitalisah. Because of the grace of this bandha, then what happens? The person not only will cross over, or you can say will get rid of, will grow out of this idealness, laziness. That tamas will not be there in the body or neither in the mind. So the person will grow out of that. Not only that, he says, Padmasane stito yogi bhuvam utsrisya vartate. He goes one step ahead, that which I do not know because I have never got it, so I cannot talk much in this aspect, and now I am out. Being in Padmasana, the yogi, what will happen? Will move through the air, okay? So there will be some type of elevation because of virtue of this mudra. So which I have not done, I have not achieved, so I cannot verify, neither I will say anything. Thank you. Next. Sugupte nirjane deshe bandhamenam samabhyaset samsara sagaram tartum yadichet yogi pungavaha. Says beautifully. Yogi pungavaha, the best among all the yogis. And what happens? Yadichet, if the person, this best among the yogi, is desirous of what? Samsara sagaram tartum, to cross over the samsara sagar, ocean of sense of becoming, or this world. What is to be done? He says, please, very nicely, bandham eram samabhyaset, keep practicing this bandha. And of course, where? Nirjane deshe, the desha which is free from people, lonely place. And of course, sugupte, it has to be kept secret. Means while practicing, don't exhibit. There are a lot of rules and regulations with reference to practice. For example, with reference to japam, when you do japam, you are not supposed to do japam openly. The mala must not be visible to anybody, including yourself. That's why when we do japam, traditional japam is like this. With that angavastram, at least upper cloth they will cover it. Not do not taking the mala and doing it. Like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare. Prabhuji, kahan? Kya chahiye? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Then in between check how many malas you have done. Definitely they are better, okay? Better than any common people or any idiots, okay? They are definitely better because at least they are doing it. In fact, there is something, I love them. Anywhere I see them, any house I see Hare Krishna people, I love because you can close your eyes, two things. There is no onion and garlic. There will be some sattvic aspect in food, some. And interestingly, they will not serve food without offering to the God. Anywhere I have seen, including I remember, I was very happy when I was in New Zealand. So when Hare Krishna people, they called me, I went there. To be very honest, I enjoyed that food, that attitude. And there itself I was shocked. In New Zealand, that country, one tulasi leaf was there on my rice, on the food. I was shocked. They are maintaining tulasi in that cold weather. So one tulasi, then I was shocked, oh, tulasi here. Tulasi means that holy basil, Indian basil. So then I was really shocked. I said, oh. They said, okay, without tulasi, I remember that lady said, without tulasi, this cannot be prasadam. So that means you can close your eyes, you can eat the food. That attitude is there, you don't have to think of. So it is easier to handle them than handling the so-called Mayavadins, means we, okay? This all these Vedantins, so-called Vedantins. I'm sorry. So because when I praise them, automatically their food started talking in my mind, okay? So that's why I try to criticize ourselves. Coming back. Okay, quickly I can say. Now second one is called Atha Viparita Karani Mudra. So Viparita Karani means in short called Shirshasana. Okay? Nothing else. In short, Shirshasana, headstand. So quickly let us look at this so that it becomes easier. Bhutale swasiro dattva khenayet charanadvayam viparita krutischesha sarvatantretu tantreshu gopita. Bhutale swasiro dattva. So putting your head on the ground. Then what happens? Khe noyat charanadvayam. So both the legs have to face towards the Khe, to the Akasa, to the space, up. Because viparita kruti, because it is opposite way. Viparita kruti, krutim cha esha, sarva tantreshu gopita. So it is secret in all the tantras. Then, etadya kurute nityam, abhyasam yama matratah, mrityum jayati sa yogi, pralayena pisidati. So the one who keeps practicing, not only every day, but how much? Yama matratah, just for 3 hours, okay? Being in headstand for 3 hours, okay? Definitely that person, what will happen? Mrityum jayati sayogi. We know her the death. Even if the person will not die, even if the pralaya comes, means when the world comes to an end. So, please increase your Shirshasana time period. Kurute amrutapanam. Kurute amrutapanam yaha. Siddhanam samatam yat. Sasebhyah sarvalokanam. Bandhamena karoti yaha. Beautiful says. Kurute amruta panam. So he who drinks, what is that? This nectar. That person, what happens? Siddhanam samatam yat. So automatically that person, what happens? Becomes equal to Siddhas. Because in this particularly Viparita Karani Mudra, what we call as Shirshasana headstand in short, there, without doing anything, you keep drinking your nectar. Because you do not allow the nectar to fall down to your digestive fire. Because already in opposite way. You understand? Without doing anything, you hit the target. Hey, but don't use your props, okay? Don't tie down your both the legs and lie down, okay? Because you remember then one organizer is there, you just all sort of props, okay? So tie down both the legs and hang. I remember somewhere I saw both the legs are tied on hang and that fellow is eating and doing everything, okay? Some video I saw. So don't do that, okay? Which will create a lot of complications. Because your body knows the best. That's why sometimes using prop is not good. Sometimes you hurt and sometimes it is not healthy in long term. However, sasebhya sarvalokana bandham enam karoti yaha. So definitely the person who actually practices this thing regularly, sasebhya, that person is being sought or ought to be sought by everybody everywhere. It. And next one will come Uddiyana Bandha, which also is in Yoga Vidya package. Okay? Which we will see tomorrow, so that we will hopefully complete this chapter tomorrow. I will manage to complete tomorrow, so that because Uddiyana Bandha, then comes Vajroli, then another one will be there. With that chapter is over. So we will complete it. Okay? Please close your eyes. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.